The massive chamber hummed with alien voices as delegates from across the galaxy gathered for their weekly meeting. Kepler Station floated in the cold darkness between stars, serving as neutral ground where dozens of different species could meet safely. Today, they had something new to discuss. Representative Zixthara adjusted her forearms and clicked her mandibles together twice. The sound meant she was about to speak, and the other aliens in the chamber slowly grew quiet. Her blue-scaled skin shimmered under the artificial lights as she stood at the central podium. "Fellow council members," she began, her voice translating into dozens of languages through the station systems. "We have received the final report on the species from Sol 3, the ones who call themselves humans." A ripple of interest moved through the chamber. Several delegates leaned forward in their specially designed seats. The insectoid ambassador from Rigel Prime rubbed his antennae together, while the crystalline representative from the Vega Collective chimed softly. Admiral Veltan, a tall being with gray skin and 6 eyes, stood up from his seat. His uniform bore the symbols of the Rigel Federation, one of the most powerful military forces in known space. "What does the report say about their space capabilities?" he asked. Zixthara touched a control panel, and a 3-dimensional image appeared above the podium. It showed a pale blue planet orbiting a yellow star. "This is their homeworld, which they call Earth. As you can see, it orbits dangerously close to its star. The radiation levels would kill most civilized species within days." The image changed to show a bipedal creature with pink skin and strange fur growing only from the top of its head. Several delegates made sounds of disgust or confusion. The human looked incredibly fragile compared to the armored, scaled, or crystalline beings in the chamber. "They have no natural protection," continued Zixthara. "No shells, no thick hide, no radiation-resistant scales. Their bones are made of calcium phosphate, which breaks easily under stress. They have only 1 heart, 2 lungs, and a single brain. If any of these organs fails, they die." Dr. Queenara, the council's chief xenobiologist, stood up next. She was tall and thin, with pale green skin that seemed to glow slightly in the dim light. Her people, the Andromedans, were known throughout the galaxy for their scientific knowledge. "I have studied their biology extensively," Dr. Quinara said. "They are perhaps the most fragile intelligent species we have ever encountered. Their atmospheric requirements are very specific. They need exactly 21% oxygen, which is a highly reactive gas that would poison most of us. They cannot survive in temperatures below freezing or above 40 degrees Celsius for extended periods." She touched her own control panel, and new images appeared. These showed human skeletons, organs, and cellular structures. Their bone density is insufficient for high-gravity environments. Their cardiovascular system shows no adaptation for zero gravity. Most concerning of all, they make decisions based on emotions rather than logic. A delegate from the Tau Ceti Union, a being that looked like a walking tree, spoke up. "Have they achieved spaceflight at all?" "Yes," Zixthara replied, "but only barely. They have managed to reach their own moon and establish a few small stations in orbit around their planet. However, the longest any human has spent in space is less than 1 of their years. Most missions last only days or weeks." Admiral Veltarn laughed, a sound like grinding metal. "1 year? My people routinely spend decades in deep space. Some of our exploration crews have been away from home for centuries." "Exactly," said Zixthara. "And that is why we must classify them appropriately. Humans might develop some basic orbital technology, but they will never be capable of true interstellar travel. Their biology simply will not allow it." Dr. Quinara nodded in agreement. The psychological profiles are equally concerning. Humans form strong emotional attachments to their homeworld and to each other. This will prevent them from making the long journeys necessary for galactic exploration. They also show high levels of curiosity and risk-taking behavior, which often leads to dangerous decisions. The crystalline delegate from Vega chimed a question. The translation system rendered it as, "What about their technology? Surely they must have some advanced capabilities to achieve even basic spaceflight." "Their technology is primitive, but functional," Zixthara replied. "They still use chemical rockets for propulsion. They have no understanding of zero-point energy, quantum manipulation, or even basic gravitational control. Their computers are electronic rather than quantum-based. Most remarkably, they still use combustion engines and fossil fuels for energy on their homeworld." Several delegates made sounds of amazement. The idea of using such primitive technology seemed almost impossible to beings who had mastered faster-than-light travel millennia ago. A small, furry delegate from the Proxima colony spoke up. "Perhaps we should help them? Provide guidance. Or technology?" Admiral Valton's 6 eyes all focused on the small being. "Help them? Why waste our resources on a species that will never leave their own solar system? They are biologically incapable of surviving the rigors of deep space travel." "The Admiral is correct," said Dr. Kinara. "Even if we gave them our most advanced life support technology, their fragile bodies could not handle the stress of long-distance space travel. The radiation alone would kill them within months." Zixthara called for order as the chamber filled with chattering, clicking, and chiming voices. "We must make a decision about how to classify this species. I propose we list them as pre-spacefaring with limited expansion potential." She explained what this would mean. "We will establish basic monitoring protocols to track their development. However, we will not commit significant resources to watching them. Based on our analysis, humans will likely abandon space exploration within 50 of their years. Their biology and psychology make success impossible." The vote was swift and unanimous. Every delegate in the chamber agreed that humans posed no threat and offered no potential for meaningful contact. They were simply too weak, too emotional, and too primitive to ever join the galactic community. As the meeting moved on to other topics, none of the aliens noticed the small monitoring probe that had detected unusual activity in the Sol system. Deep in Earth's solar system, construction was nearly complete on a revolutionary new spacecraft. The ship used an experimental faster-than-light drive based on theories that Earth scientists had developed independently. Captain Jake Morrison walked through the corridors of the Starship Pioneer, checking systems and talking with his crew. He was a calm man with gray hair and steady hands, a former test pilot who had volunteered for humanity's most dangerous mission. Behind him walked Dr. Lisa Hayes, a brilliant medical officer and biologist who would serve as the mission's chief science officer. "How are the final preparations going?" Morrison asked Danny Cooper, the ship's chief engineer. Cooper wiped grease from his hands with a cloth. "All systems are green, Captain. The FTL drive has passed every test. We're ready for the jump to Proxima Centauri." Morrison nodded. "And the crew?" "Ready and eager, sir," replied Amy Rodriguez, the communications officer. "Everyone knows this is a one-way trip unless the drive works perfectly. Nobody's backing out." Dr. Hayes smiled. "The medical bay is fully stocked. We have enough supplies for 3 years, and the hydroponics bay is producing fresh food. If we encounter any problems, we'll be ready." Morrison looked out through the ship's main viewport at the blue curve of Earth below. Somewhere out there among the stars, alien civilizations were going about their daily business, completely unaware that humanity was about to take its first step into the wider galaxy. "Set course for Proxima Centauri," Morrison ordered. "Let's show the universe what humans can do." The Pioneer's engines ignited, and humanity's first interstellar voyage began. Light years away, The automated monitoring systems of the Galactic Council continued their passive watch, expecting nothing more than the eventual failure of another primitive species trying to reach beyond their world. The Pioneer shuddered as it dropped out of faster-than-light travel. Captain Jake Morrison gripped his chair as the ship's systems adjusted to normal space. Through the main view screen, the red glow of Proxima Centauri filled the bridge with crimson light. "Jump successful, Captain," reported Danny Cooper from the engineering station. "All systems nominal. We are now in the Proxima Centauri system." Morrison felt his heart racing. They had done it. Humanity had just completed its first interstellar journey. Around the bridge, his crew stared in wonder at the alien star that now lit their ship. "Amy, start scanning for planets," Morrison ordered. "Lisa, I want a full system analysis. We need to know what we're dealing with here." Dr. Lisa Hayes worked quickly at her science station. "Confirmed, Captain. Proxima b is right where our telescopes said it would be. Rocky planet, about 20% larger than Earth. It's in the habitable zone." Amy Rodriguez looked up from her communications console. "Captain, I'm picking up some kind of signal. It's very faint, but it's definitely artificial. Not natural. Background radiation." Morrison frowned. "Can you identify the source?" "Working on it, sir. The signal seems to be coming from somewhere near the edge of the system. It's like nothing in our databases." What the crew didn't know was that their arrival had triggered ancient monitoring equipment left by the Galactic Council. Light years away, on a small monitoring station hidden in an asteroid field, Commander Thelvis stared at his displays in shock. Thelvis was a Centauri, with blue-scaled skin and 4 arms. He had been assigned to this boring post because the Galactic Council expected nothing to happen in the Sol system for decades. Now his sensors were showing impossible readings. "Computer, verify sensor data," he commanded. "Sensor data confirmed," the computer replied in its calm voice. "One vessel of unknown design has entered the Proxima Centauri system. Mass approximately 2,000 tons. Energy signature consistent with artificial faster-than-light propulsion." Thelvis' scales turned pale with shock. The fragile humans had achieved interstellar travel. This was supposed to be impossible. He immediately opened a communication channel to Kepler Station. "Priority message to the Galactic Council," he said. "The humans have reached Proxima Centauri. Repeat, the humans have achieved interstellar flight." Meanwhile, aboard the Pioneer, the crew was dealing with their first crisis: the ship's radiation. Alarms began to sound as Proxima Centauri released a powerful solar flare. The red dwarf star was known for its violent outbursts, but this one was larger than expected. "Radiation levels rising fast," reported Dr. Hayes. "Our shielding is holding, but we're taking damage." Morrison made a quick decision. "Danny, reroute power from non-essential systems to the shields. Amy, plot a course behind that large asteroid. We need cover." The Pioneer moved quickly to shelter behind a massive space rock. Even so, the radiation from the solar flare damaged several systems. In the medical bay, Dr. Hayes began treating crew members who had been exposed to dangerous levels of radiation. "Captain, we have a problem," Cooper reported. "The flare damaged our main communication array. We can still receive messages, but we can't send anything back to Earth." Morrison looked around the bridge at his crew. They were millions of miles from home, with damaged equipment and no way to call for help. According to the aliens watching them, this should have been the moment when humans gave up and tried to return to Earth. Instead, Morrison surprised everyone, including the hidden alien observers. "We're not going home," he announced. "We came here to explore, and that's what we're going to do." "Danny, how long to repair the communication system?" Cooper checked his instruments. "Maybe 3 weeks, Captain. But we'll need to manufacture some replacement parts." Then we'll manufacture them, Morrison said calmly. Amy, start detailed scans of the system. Lisa, I want to know everything about that planet. If we're going to be here for a while, we might as well learn something. On the monitoring station, Commander Thelvis watched in amazement as the human ship began extensive scientific surveys instead of fleeing. He sent another urgent message to the Galactic Council, but his superiors refused to believe his reports. Commander, came the reply from Admiral Veltan, your sensors must be malfunctioning. Humans cannot survive in deep space for extended periods. Check your equipment and report back. Thelvis double-checked everything, but his readings were correct. The human ship was not only surviving, but thriving in the hostile environment of the Proxima system. Over the following days, the Pioneer crew made remarkable discoveries. Dr. Hayes found signs of microbial life in the subsurface oceans of Proxima. B. Amy Rodriguez detected patterns in the radio signals from the planet that suggested complex chemical processes. Danny Cooper developed new techniques for repairing ship systems using raw materials from local asteroids. Captain, Dr. Hayes reported after a week of intense study, this planet is incredible. The life forms here are unlike anything on Earth. But they're definitely alive. We're seeing evidence of a complete ecosystem in the planet's underground oceans. Morrison nodded. What about the surface? Hostile to human life, but not impossible. The atmosphere is mostly carbon dioxide with traces of water vapor. The temperature ranges from -40 to +60 Celsius. With proper equipment, we could establish a research station. This was exactly what Morrison had hoped to hear. Danny, how are repairs going? Cooper wiped sweat from his forehead. Better than expected, Captain. We've got most systems back online. The communication array should be working within a few days. Good. When it's ready, we'll send a message back to Earth. But first, I want to establish a permanent presence here. The crew worked together to deploy prefabricated modules from the Pioneer's cargo bay. Within 2 weeks, they had constructed a small research station on the surface of Proxima B. The station was powered by a nuclear reactor and protected by heavy shielding against radiation. Dr. Hayes was the first to set foot on the alien world. She wore a bulky environmental suit, but her voice was clear over the radio. The surface is stable. Gravity is about 20% higher than Earth, but manageable. The view is incredible. Through her helmet camera, the crew could see the alien landscape. Red rocks stretched to the horizon under the dim light of Proxima Centauri. In the distance, geysers of water vapor erupted from cracks in the ground, signs of the ocean beneath. Beginning sample collection, Hayes reported. The soil shows signs of complex chemistry. I'm detecting organic compounds that could be related to life. On the monitoring station, Commander Thelvis watched the humans establish their first permanent outpost beyond their solar system. He had been observing them for 3 weeks now, and their behavior continued to surprise him. Instead of the emotional breakdown that Dr. Quinara had predicted, the humans showed remarkable adaptability. They worked together to solve problems, shared resources without conflict, and remained optimistic even in the face of equipment failures and hostile conditions. Computer, prepare another report for the Galactic Council, Thelvis commanded. The humans have established a permanent research facility on Proxima B. They are conducting extensive scientific studies and show no signs of abandoning their mission. Their technology, while primitive by our standards, appears to be more effective than predicted. When this report reached Kepler Station, it caused considerable debate among the council members. Representative Zixthara insisted that the humans would eventually fail and return to their homeworld. Dr. Koinara began to wonder if their initial assessment had been wrong. Perhaps we should send a ship to investigate, suggested the delegate. From Tau Ceti, absolutely not, Admiral Veltan replied. We will not waste resources on a species that will collapse within months. These reports are clearly exaggerated. But the reports were not exaggerated. A pioneer crew spent 3 months in the Proxima system, conducting the most comprehensive study of an alien world in human history. They discovered multiple forms of life, identified valuable mineral resources, and proved that humans could survive and work effectively in deep space. When the Pioneer finally returned to Earth, they brought with them samples of alien life and detailed plans for future missions. The success of their mission led to the immediate approval of funding for 10 more interstellar expeditions. As Captain Morrison filed his final report, he had no idea that alien observers had been watching every moment of their historic journey. The Galactic Council's assessment of human capabilities was about to face its first serious challenge, and humanity was just getting started. News of the Pioneer's success spread quickly through Earth's space agencies. Within 6 months, 3 more ships launched toward different star systems. The USS Endeavour headed for Vega under Captain Nick Johnson's command, while the exploration vessel Horizon pushed toward Wolf 359 with Commander Kate Williams at the helm. Each mission faced challenges that alien observers expected would finally stop human expansion. On Kepler Station, the Galactic Council gathered for another emergency session. Representative Zixthara stood at the podium, her blue scales darker than usual. The mood in the chamber was tense. "Fellow delegates," she began, "the human situation has become more complex than we anticipated. They now have ships heading to 3 different star systems simultaneously." Admiral Valton's 6 eyes narrowed with concern. "This is impossible. Our calculations showed they should have given up after the first mission encountered problems." Dr. Quainara activated a holographic display showing the positions of human ships. "The data is confirmed. One vessel has reached the Vega system. Another is approaching Wolf 359, and they continue to maintain their outpost at Proxima Centauri." In the Vega system, Captain Nick Johnson stared at the massive asteroid field that blocked their path to the inner planets. The rocks stretched for millions of kilometers, a dense maze of spinning debris that would crush any ship trying to pass through. "How thick is this field?" Johnson asked his navigator. "At least 50 million kilometers, Captain," replied Lieutenant Carl Martinez. "The asteroids are packed so tightly that safe passage is impossible with our current technology." Chief Engineer Pete Martinez studied the sensor readings. "These aren't ordinary rocks, Captain. I'm detecting high concentrations of rare metals. Platinum, iridium, even some elements we don't have names for yet." Johnson made a decision that surprised the alien monitoring systems watching from a distance. Instead of turning back, he ordered the ship to stop at the edge of the asteroid field. "We're not going around it," Johnson announced. "We're going through it. Pete, I want you to design mining equipment. We're going to clear a path and collect samples at the same time." Dr. Helen Ross, the mission's geologist, looked excited. "Captain, some of these metals are incredibly valuable. If we can extract them, it would pay for 100 more missions." Over the following weeks, the Endeavour crew developed techniques that amazed the hidden alien observers. They built remote-controlled mining drones using spare parts from their ship. The drones could cut through asteroids and extract valuable materials while the main ship stayed safely outside the danger zone. Pete Martinez designed mobile processing platforms that could refine raw ore into useful metals. "It's like having a portable factory," he explained to the crew. "We can turn space rocks into ship components." The aliens watching this operation couldn't believe what they were seeing. Most species would have either retreated or called for help when faced with such an obstacle. Humans were treating it as an opportunity. Meanwhile, in the Wolf 359 system, Commander Kate Williams faced a completely different challenge. Her ship, the Horizon, had detected strange energy readings from the moment they arrived. The entire system seemed to pulse with mysterious forces. "I've never seen anything like this," reported Dr. Carl Brooks, the science officer. "There are energy patterns everywhere, but they don't match any known natural phenomena." Communications Officer Amy Chun looked worried. "Commander, our electronics are malfunctioning. Every time we try to use active sensors, something interferes with the signals." Williams studied the strange readings on her display. "It's almost like something is deliberately jamming our equipment." She was right. The Wolf system was home to beings made of pure energy, creatures that lived in the electromagnetic spectrum rather than physical space. These entities had learned to fear solid matter ships because most alien vessels carried weapons that could disrupt their existence. When the Horizon first arrived, the energy beings attacked its systems, trying to drive the newcomers away. But Commander Williams noticed something important about the interference patterns. "Carl, look at these readings," she said. "The interference isn't random. There's a pattern here, almost like a language." Dr. Brooks studied the data. "You're right, Commander. It's as if something is trying to communicate with us." Williams made another decision that defied alien expectations. Instead of fleeing or fighting back, she ordered her crew to respond to the energy patterns with their own signals. "Modulate our communications array to match their frequency," she commanded. "If they're trying to talk, let's try to talk back." The first attempts at communication were clumsy, but gradually the humans learned to translate the energy being's language. The entities were amazed to find solid matter creatures who wanted to communicate rather than attack. "They call themselves the Luminous," Dr. Brooks reported after weeks of careful translation work. "They've been alone in this system for thousands of years. They're actually excited to meet us." The energy beings helped the Horizon crew develop new types of shielding that could protect against electromagnetic interference. In return, the humans shared information about the galaxy beyond Wolf 359. It was the beginning of an alliance that would prove valuable in years to come. Back on Kepler Station, the Galactic Council struggled to understand these developments. Representative Mordak, a harsh-looking being from the Rigel sector, demanded action. "These humans are becoming dangerous," Mordak declared. "They ignore obstacles that would stop any civilized species. They make friends with energy beings that we've classified as hostile. They must be contained." But Dr. Kuinara was beginning to see something different in human behavior. "Perhaps we've been looking at this wrong," she suggested. "What if their apparent weaknesses are actually strengths?" The other delegates made sounds of disbelief, but Kuinara continued. "Think about it. They form emotional bonds with each other, which makes them work together more effectively. They make quick decisions based on instinct, which helps them adapt to unexpected situations. They're curious about everything, which drives them to explore and discover." Admiral Valton dismissed this idea. "Emotional thinking leads to mistakes. Logic and careful planning are the foundations of successful space exploration." "Then how do you explain their success so far?" Kuinara challenged. "They've overcome every obstacle we thought would stop them. In the Vega system, the Endeavor crew had cleared a safe path through the asteroid field and established a mining operation. Captain Johnson's ship was now loaded with rare metals and scientific data. More importantly, they had proven that humans could turn dangerous space hazards into profitable opportunities." "Captain," reported Pete Martinez, "we've processed enough material to build 3 more ships this size. The folks back on Earth are going to be very happy." Johnson smiled as he looked at the cleared corridor through the asteroid field. "Mark this route on the star charts. Future ships will be able to reach the inner system safely." Dr. Helen Ross had made another important discovery. "Captain, I'm detecting artificial structures on the 3rd planet. They're old, probably abandoned, but definitely made by intelligent beings. This news caused excitement throughout the ship. The possibility of finding ancient alien ruins had always been a dream for human explorers. Johnson ordered a careful approach to the mysterious planet. What they found there would change everything. The planet held the remains of an advanced civilization with technologies that even the Galactic Council had never seen. But that discovery would have to wait for another day. Back on the horizon, Commander Williams and her crew had learned to work alongside the energy beings of Wolf 359. The Luminous shared their knowledge of cosmic phenomena, while the humans provided information about physical matter and solid-state technology. This partnership is remarkable, Dr. Brooks observed. We're learning things about energy manipulation that could revolutionize our technology. Williams nodded. And they're learning about the physical universe from us. It's a fair trade. Neither crew knew that their successes were being watched and debated by alien observers across the galaxy. The humans were rewriting the rules of space exploration, proving that adaptability and determination could overcome any challenge. On Kepler Station, Dr. Quinara continued her research into human psychology and biology. She was beginning to suspect that the Galactic Council had made a serious mistake in their initial assessment. Humans weren't too weak for space exploration. They might actually be perfectly adapted for it in ways no one had considered. The galaxy was about to learn that humans were just getting started. 5 years had passed since the Pioneer first reached Proxima Centauri. Now, humans had permanent colonies in 6 different star systems. Admiral Jake Morrison, promoted after his successful first mission, stood in the command center of New Geneva Station, humanity's first major deep space installation in the Alpha Centauri system. Status report, Morrison requested from his operations officer. All colonies are reporting normal operations, Admiral, Lieutenant Sarah Kim replied. The Vega mining operation is sending another shipment of rare metals back to Earth. The Wolf 359 research station is continuing their work with the luminous energy beings. And we've just received word that the Pathfinder has reached the Tau Ceti system. Morrison nodded with satisfaction. Human expansion was proceeding faster than anyone had dreamed possible. Each colony was self-sufficient and contributing valuable resources or knowledge back to the growing human network. Light years away, Captain Roy Stevens looked through the view screen of his survey ship Pathfinder at something that made his heart race. Floating in the darkness of space was a massive ring-shaped structure, easily 100 kilometers across. Its surface was covered with strange markings and emitted a faint blue glow. "My God," whispered Dr. Julie Parker, the mission systems analyst. "What is that thing?" Stevens checked his instruments. "It's artificial, that's for certain. And it's old. Really old. I'm reading metal alloys that we don't recognize and energy patterns that don't match anything in our databases." Dr. Ben Clark, the ship's archaeologist, was practically bouncing in his chair with excitement. "Captain, this could be the discovery of the century. An intact alien megastructure, just waiting to be explored." But as the Pathfinder approached the ring, their instruments detected something troubling. The structure was surrounded by an energy barrier that deflected all attempts at scanning. More concerning, there were the remains of several alien ships floating nearby, their hulls twisted and broken. "Captain," reported Navigation Officer Tom Walsh, "I'm detecting automated defense systems. They're targeting us right now." Stevens made a quick decision. "Back us off to a safe distance. I want to study this thing before we get too close." Unknown to the human crew, they were looking at something that had puzzled the Galactic Council for thousands of years. The ring structure had been built by an ancient race called the Architects, but it had been abandoned long before any current species had achieved spaceflight. Every attempt to penetrate its defenses had failed. On Kepler Station, alarm bells were ringing in the monitoring center. Commander Thelvis stared at his displays in shock as he watched the human Ship approached the forbidden zone around the Architect Ring. "Emergency transmission to the Galactic Council," he commanded. "The humans have discovered the Architect structure in Tau Ceti. They're attempting to investigate." Within hours, the message reached Admiral Veltone. His 6 eyes widened in alarm as he read the report. "This is disastrous," he muttered. "The Architect defenses will destroy them. We'll have dead humans on our hands, and the Council will blame us for not warning them." But Representative Zixthara had a different concern. What if they succeed? Where we have failed? Back at the ring structure, Captain Stevens was having his crew analyze the wreckage of the alien ships. Dr. Parker made an interesting discovery. "Captain, look at this. All of these ships were destroyed by the same type of energy discharge, but the pattern isn't random. It's like the defenses were trying to match their attack frequency to the approaching ships." Dr. Clark studied the alien hull fragments. These ships all tried to force their way through using brute strength. Heavy armor, powerful shields, direct assault tactics. Stevens thought about this information. So the defenses respond to aggressive approaches. What if we tried something different? "What do you mean, Captain?" asked Dr. Parker. "Every alien ship we've seen uses the same basic approach to problems. Overwhelming force and advanced technology. But humans have always been different. We solve problems by thinking around them, not through them." Over the following days, the Pathfinder crew conducted detailed observations of the defense system. They noticed that the energy barrier fluctuated in mathematical patterns, almost like a complex equation being solved over and over again. Dr. Parker spent hours analyzing the patterns. "Captain, I think I understand how this works. The defenses aren't just barriers. They're puzzles. The architects built this as a test of intelligence, not military power." "A test?" Stevens asked. "Yes, sir. Look at these frequency modulations. They're based on prime numbers, but arranged in a specific sequence. It's like a lock that requires the right mathematical key." Dr. Clark added his own observations. The markings on the ring surface aren't decorative. They're instructions. The architects left clues about how to safely approach their structure. Stevens made another decision that would have amazed alien observers. Instead of attacking the defenses or trying to overpower them, he ordered his crew to solve the mathematical puzzle. "Julie, I want you to work out the complete number sequence. Ben, decode those markings. Tom, prepare to transmit mathematical responses to the defense system." The work took 3 weeks of careful calculation and analysis. Dr. Parker discovered that the architects used a base 12 mathematical system based on harmonic frequencies. Dr. Clark translated the ring markings into a set of instructions for peaceful contact. When they finally transmitted the correct mathematical sequence, the energy barriers simply faded away. The ring structure opened like a flower, revealing docking ports and entry chambers designed for visiting ships. "Incredible," breathed Dr. Parker. "We're the first beings in thousands of years to solve the architect puzzle." Captain Stevens piloted the Pathfinder carefully through the opening. Inside the ring, they found something beyond their wildest dreams. The structure was a vast library containing the collected knowledge of the architect civilization. "Captain," Dr. Clark called out in excitement, "there are databases here with information about technologies we can't even imagine. Faster than light. Communication, matter transformation, energy manipulation on a cosmic scale." The discovery of architect technology sent shockwaves through the galaxy. On Kepler Station, the Galactic Council emergency session was unlike any in their recorded history. "This changes everything," declared Dr. Quinara. "The humans have accessed knowledge that we've been trying to reach for millennia." Admiral Velton paced back and forth, his usually calm demeanor shattered. How did they succeed where we failed? Their technology is primitive. Their methods are unorthodox. That's exactly why they succeeded, Quinara replied. We approached. The Architect Ring is a military obstacle to be overcome. They approached it as a puzzle to be solved. Their different perspective allowed them to see what we missed. Representative Morgak was furious. This cannot be allowed to continue. If humans gain access to Architect technology, they could become more powerful than any council species. But other delegates were beginning to think differently. The small delegate from Proxima spoke up. Perhaps it's time we reconsidered our relationship with humans. They've proven themselves capable of achievements we thought impossible. Back in the Tau Ceti system, the Pathfinder crew was making discovery after discovery. The Architect Library contained blueprints for technologies that could revolutionize space travel, energy production, and scientific research. Captain, reported Dr. Parker, I'm finding information about something called quantum tunneling drives. They make our current FTL systems look like stone tools. Dr. Clark was equally excited. There are star charts here showing the locations of other Architect sites throughout the galaxy. Some of them are in unexplored regions beyond Council space. Stevens realized the implications immediately. We need to get this information back to Earth as quickly as possible. This knowledge could advance human civilization by centuries. As the Pathfinder prepared to return home with its incredible cargo of information, Captain Stevens had no idea that his crew's success was being debated in alien council chambers across the galaxy. The humans had proven that their unique approach to problem-solving could achieve what raw power and advanced technology could not. Admiral Morrison received the transmission from the Pathfinder with amazement. The Architect discovery would change everything for humanity's place in the galaxy. But it would also bring new challenges as alien civilizations struggled to understand how such a primitive species could accomplish what they could not. The galaxy was beginning to realize that humans might not be the weak, emotional species they had initially appeared to be. They might be something far more dangerous and valuable, a species that could think in ways no one else could imagine. The council chamber on Kepler Station had never been so crowded. Representatives from dozens of species filled every available seat as they waited for the most important vote in galactic history. At the center podium stood Representative Zixthara. But today she looked very different from the confident alien who had dismissed humans 5 years earlier. Fellow delegates, Zixthara began, her voice carrying across the silent chamber. We can no longer ignore what humans have accomplished. In 5 short years, they have established colonies in 6 star systems, solved the Architect puzzle that stumped us for millennia, and formed peaceful contact with energy beings we thought were hostile. Admiral Veltan shifted uncomfortably in his seat. His military reports showed human expansion continuing at an alarming rate. More concerning, human technology was advancing rapidly thanks to their access to Architect. Knowledge. Dr. Keen Ara stood to address the council. I have completed my comprehensive study of human behavior and capabilities. My original assessment was completely wrong. Humans are not weak or unsuited for space exploration. They are perhaps the most naturally gifted spacefaring species we have ever encountered. A ripple of surprise moved through the chamber. Many delegates had never heard such praise for any species, let alone the humans they had dismissed as primitive. Their emotional decision-making, which we saw as a weakness, actually allows them to adapt quickly to unexpected situations, Quinara continued. Their curiosity drives them to explore and discover things we would never think to investigate. Most importantly, their ability to work together and form bonds with other species makes them natural diplomats and allies. At that moment, a new ship was approaching Kepler Station. The vessel was clearly human in design, sleek and functional, rather than heavily armored like most alien ships. Admiral Morrison stood on the bridge, wearing his best dress uniform for this historic occasion. Kepler Station Control, this is Admiral Morrison of the Earth Diplomatic Corps. "Requesting permission to dock," he transmitted. The response came back immediately. "Permission granted, Admiral. Welcome to Kepler Station." Beside Morrison stood Ambassador Frank Turner, Earth's first official representative to the galactic community. Turner was a calm, experienced diplomat who had spent months preparing for this moment. "Nervous?" Morrison asked. Turner smiled. "A little. But after everything our people have accomplished out here, I think we've earned a seat at this table." As their ship docked, both men could see alien vessels of every imaginable design surrounding the station. Some looked like living creatures. Others were geometric shapes that defied understanding. All of them belonged to species that had initially thought humans were too weak to survive in space. Not inside the council chamber, the debate continued. Representative Murdoch was making one final argument against accepting humans into the galactic community. "They are unpredictable," Murdoch declared. "They ignore established protocols. They make friends with dangerous entities. They solve problems in ways that make no sense to civilized species." "Exactly," replied the small delegate from Proxima. "And that's why we need them. How many problems have we failed to solve because we always approach them the same way? The humans show us new possibilities." Zixthara called for order as voices rose throughout the chamber. "The question before us is simple. Do we invite Earth to join the Galactic Council as a full member species, or do we continue to treat them as an unrecognized civilization?" Before the vote could begin, emergency alarms began sounding throughout the station. In the communication center, technicians stared at their displays in horror. "Long-range sensors are detecting massive objects approaching from outside the galaxy," reported the chief technician. "Energy signatures are unlike anything in our databases." Admiral Velton rushed to the communication center, followed by other council members. The displays showed a terrifying sight. Dozens of enormous ships moving toward the galaxy at incredible speed. "Estimated time of arrival?" Velton demanded. 2 years, maybe less," came the reply. "These ships are larger than our biggest space stations. If they're hostile, we don't have the firepower to stop them." The news sent panic through the council chamber. For thousands of years, the galaxy had been relatively peaceful. Now they faced a threat from beyond their borders, and their combined military might not be enough. Dr. Kinara looked at the sensor readings and made a startling observation. "Their technology appears to be similar to what we've seen from the architects. These could be the beings who drove the architects into hiding." At that moment, Admiral Morrison and Ambassador Turner entered the chamber. The sight of humans walking among the alien delegates caused a stir, but the emergency had everyone's attention focused elsewhere. "Ambassador Turner," Zixthara called out, "your arrival is well timed. We face a crisis that threatens the entire galaxy." Turner listened carefully as the aliens explained the approaching threat. When they finished, he asked a simple question that surprised everyone. "What do you need from us?" Admiral Velton looked confused. "You're offering to help? Even though you're not officially members of the council?" Morrison stepped forward. "That's what humans do. When there's trouble, we help our neighbors. It doesn't matter if we're officially part of your club or not." This response sent murmurs of amazement through the chamber. Most species would have demanded formal recognition and significant concessions before offering aid in such a serious crisis. Ambassador Turner continued. "We have something you might need. Human creativity and problem-solving abilities. You've seen what we can accomplish when we approach challenges differently." Dr. Kuinara nodded enthusiastically. "The humans solved the architect puzzle by thinking in ways we never considered. Perhaps they can find solutions to this threat as well." Representative Murdoch stood up angrily. "You want to trust the survival of our civilization to a species we've known for 5 years?" "Yes," replied Zixthara firmly. "Because in those 5 years, They've accomplished more than most species do in centuries. The vote was swift and unanimous. Earth was officially invited to join the Galactic Council as a full member species. More importantly, humans were asked to help coordinate the galaxy's defense against the approaching threat. Within weeks, human ships were working alongside alien vessels throughout the galaxy. Captain Rachel North of the Deep Space Explorer Odyssey was assigned to investigate the approaching fleet. Her ship, equipped with advanced architect technology, pushed beyond the galactic rim into unexplored space. "Captain," reported her science. "Officer, I'm detecting something incredible. The approaching ships aren't invaders. They're refugees." The revelation changed everything. The massive vessels contained the survivors of another galaxy, fleeing from an even greater threat. The beings who had driven out the architects were themselves being hunted by something worse. Captain North made contact with the refugee fleet using communication techniques learned from humans' experience with the energy beings of Wolf 359. What she discovered was that the galaxy faced not an invasion, but an opportunity to help fellow beings in desperate need. Back on Earth, children looked up at stars that now hosted human colonies throughout the galaxy. In classrooms around the world, teachers explained how their species had gone from unknown primitives to essential members of the galactic community in just 5 years. Admiral Morrison stood in the command center of New Geneva Station, coordinating the galaxy's response to the refugee crisis. Beside him worked alien officers who had once dismissed humans as too weak for space exploration. "Status report," Morrison requested. "The refugee fleet has been safely settled in the Andromeda border." "Region," reported his Centauri liaison officer. "Human engineers are working with architect technology to build temporary colonies. The galaxy's first joint humanitarian mission is proceeding smoothly." Morrison smiled as he looked at the star charts showing human and alien ships working together across dozens of systems. 5 years ago, Earth had been alone in the universe. Now, humans were helping to guide an entire galaxy into a new age of cooperation and discovery. Turner's voice came over the communication system from Kepler Station. "Admiral, the Council has approved funding for 50 new joint exploration missions. They want human crews on every expedition." "Understood, Ambassador. We'll be ready." As Morrison ended the transmission, he thought about how much had changed. The aliens who had once thought humans couldn't survive deep space now looked to them as pioneers who could lead the galaxy into uncharted territories. Outside the station's viewports, human and alien ships prepared for their next journey into the unknown, proving that the universe was full of wonders waiting to be discovered by those brave enough to reach for the stars.